G'day fellas, it's Clem again from Outback Mini Models. Today's video isn't really a kit review or it's a look at paints or anything. It's a bit of a DIY project. So look, I've just finished making this and I thought this would be an absolute perfect opportunity to show you guys what I've done here. So it all come about, like I've got a heap. Like I don't buy expensive Kolinsky sable brushes, like I just don't buy them. I'd rather just buy cheap brushes and then just dispose of it, but only because like I'm not really good at looking after my brushes. So like if I can bring it in, you can see that this has got a nice little hook on it. Okay, it's just typical of a synthetic brush. So what I'd done a few weeks ago is I went onto Amazon and I picked up these. Okay, so these are the what do they call them? Like they're just called 50-pack disposable makeup and skincare brushes. Okay, like they're just cheap plastic disposables. Once the bristles bust out or they all bend up, you just throw them away. Okay, so you get 50 in a packet. But the beauty of this guys is these are $2.54. Okay, if you don't believe me, here's my phone. These are the brushes. I've gone back through my previous orders history on my Amazon and you can see them there. $2.54 Australian. So if you're in the States, you'll probably be paying less. I've seen hobby shops sell these and the prices these guys want, it's like I can get them cheaper on Amazon. Okay, like these are disposable. These are meant to be thrown away. So this one, the tip I've actually got in here, I've had this now for maybe 2 weeks of using it, and as you can see, it's still straight. You can clean these things like you clean a standard paintbrush. So like you can just get your paint pot, give it a quick stir, and they're fine. The only drawback with these is because these are made with plastic. The plastic itself isn't solvent proof, like they're gonna melt. But if you're just gonna be using these for acrylic painting, like these are perfect. Okay, so when you do get them, they're a little bit stiff. It's only because they got that bit of the fiber care that's on there. It's like a bit of a glue that they put on there, like a water-based glue that they put on there just to keep the bristles nice and straight. But once you wash them out with water, you give it a bit of a swish in the water, they become really soft. Okay, like they're just synthetic brushes. But if I give it a dip in my water pot, just off to the side, and I give it a clean, you can see that the tips themselves are just really sharp. So, and these do work because I did use this on my Boba Fett 1.6 bus figure that I've been painting, and the detail I can get with this is unreal. But I was using the brush, so pretend I'll get some I'm working on at the moment. So we've got a M18 Hellcat turret that I'm currently building at the moment, or painting. So imagine this is your model, and I was holding it like this. You can see that its brush isn't very long. Okay, so I was using it like this to get all the fine detail, doing my dot details, whatever, and it works a treat. So I thought these are great. They're a little bit thin to hold, and they're a little bit fatiguing on my fingers just because it's so small and you know you've got to hold it. And I was thinking about my old Tamiya brush that I've got. So if I can find it quickly. Okay, so this is a very old Tamiya brush that I've had for absolutely years, and I thought about the design of it. So you can see that it's basically just a wooden stick. There's a hole that's been drilled out, and there's a plastic insert with the bristles. Okay, the bristles are that busted up. I've just chopped it up over time, and it's sort of become it was my mask old brush, but I don't know what I use it for now. It's just a beat around bush bashing brush that I just have on my bench. So I thought if I can copy that design, if I can drill a hole out and insert this is disposable. Okay, and I can make a brush like this. So as you can see here, that it's pretty much the same style as this Tamiya brush. Okay, but now I can actually hold on to it and use it like a paintbrush, and it feels really comfortable. Okay, so when the tips are no longer usable, they're all frayed. You just pull it out, throw it away, and insert a new one. So I thought, what better opportunity to actually show you how I made this, because I only just finished making this like 5 minutes ago. So I'm going to show you what we need. So it's just simply just an old stick, like a skewer. This is actually like a chopstick that I had from when you buy like Chinese food or whatever. You just get those little, chopsticks in a little bit of in a paper bag thing. You just rip it open, you get 2 chopsticks. So if you've got one of these, or you've got a little piece of dowel or something, if you've got like big hands and you'd like a bigger stick to use, by all means use what you can get and what you want to use. It doesn't have to be this or this exact thing, but I chose this because it's just the way it's set up. It's like it's got a round end on it, and it's just they're just spare laying around the house. So you're gonna need a stick, you're gonna need some cotton thread, you're gonna need some of these disposable makeup brushes. And for this particular size of the handle itself, it's a bit over 2.5 mils. It's like 2.6 or something, but all I've got is a 2.5 mil drill bit. The next one I've got upsize is a 3 mil. 3 mil's too big. You're going to need, so there's your drill bit, 2.5 mil drill bit. You're going to need a Q-tip. You're going to need some super glue. It doesn't matter what super glue. Cheap and nasty, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go out and buy like an expensive bottle of Zap glue or Zap-A-Gap, whatever they call it. A bottle of Kicker. Need a scrap piece of sandpaper. Just something sharp, whether you've got like a nail or a tiny drill bit or something, just something with a sharp point. If you've got like even just a plastic scribing tool. But this is actually one of those clay sort of molding, sculpting tools you can get in those big sets. So I've got this. And you're also going to, well, for me, you can use whatever you like. You can use paint on your bench, but I've got like a black Posca paint pen. It doesn't have to be a pen, it could be like a Sharpie, whatever. Just something, you're going to need this later. Okay, so, and also you're going to need a drill, cordless drill, okay? And also, it's up to you if you've got a drill, but I've also got my low powered Dremel. It's actually important that it's low powered. If you've got high powered, you're going to end up splintering and breaking this, because this stick's not very thick at all. So and I've also forgot, and I'm going to need like a little saw. So I hope, as modelers, most of us, or most of you guys that are watching this video, should have most of this stuff floating around on your bench, okay? And if you don't, you're new to the hobby, or if you're like a young kid or something like that, ask your mum or dad if they've got some of this stuff laying around, and you need some thread, okay? So I actually borrowed this off my wife out of her sewing box. And also this, it doesn't have to be brown, it could be any color you want. If you've got like, your dad makes fishing rods, or you make fishing rods, you might even have that fishing rod, cotton, whatever they use to bind the runners on the rod. You might have some of that, but cotton will do. Just cotton will do, okay, guys. And as I said, this saw's quite important if you don't have because this stick I've got, it's tapered down one end, and I've chosen, see, this one was the better out of the two. This one sort of like tapers down a bit, you can see it, so that's not really good for what I want to use it for. So, but for here, I can cut this down to here, okay? But I'm just using this stick to show you how I made it. So if you've got like a miter box or something, use that, but I've just got my clamp with my timber base on it to use. Alright, so all we're going to do is I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm just going to push these paints out of the way, because this bench is still active on building models. I just cleared a space to make this and to make a video for you guys. So it doesn't really matter, like basically hold the stick or hold the thing, that's long enough, I think. So like where I'm going to cut it is if I get a pen, I don't know if you can see it, but the stick it's on this particular item here, the wood starts to taper down about here somewhere. All right, so anything past this for this project, for what I'm going to make with it, isn't usable. So I'm just going to get my little saw. Don't cut it because you'll splinter it. Like, don't use a pair of pliers or like a pair of clippers, because you'll splinter it, and you need to keep this as straight as you can. This is going to be my disposable fine detail brush. Get a drill. All right, and this is just doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be an expensive drill. This is just a Mazito drill. All right, you can see it's a little bit bowed. That doesn't matter. And I'm just going to get some sandpaper on the end. Hold this, and I just want to just take all the burrs off the end of this. Just hold it. Okay, that's it. All right, we're not polishing this thing. You can if you want, but you can do that later. So we're going to take the stick out of the chuck, undo the chuck. Right, now we're left with the handle. Okay, so now we're going to get our fine point, or our sharp tip. It's important that it's sharp because you need to make a starter hole, because if you start drilling straight away, the drill bit's going to like slide all around the top, and you're not going to get the hole sort of in the middle. We want this hole in the middle as straight as, like, as center as we can. So we just sort of get our point. Okay, so it's roughly there somewhere. Okay, so just do that. Don't push too hard because you'll split it, because all the fibers of this particular piece here run like lengthways. So if you push too hard, the whole thing will just split. We don't want it to split. But if it does, it's not the end of the world, but you don't want it to. So we're just being gentle, and all we're doing is just, I don't know if the camera picks it up. You can probably just see it. We're just sort of like making a small indentation. There's probably like 1/10 of a mil or something. We're only just going in the tiniest bit, okay? And then if you want to, you can get your drill bit and just twist it with your fingers, just to get it started. All right, so you can't really see it. Oh, there you go. There you go. You can sort of start to see the start there. And then I've got here a Dremel 2050. It's a low speed Dremel. Like, if you've got like the original big bulky Dremel, that thing might be too powerful for this, because I used to have one, but then I've sort of downsized down to this one, because it's really good for hobbies, modeling and stuff, because it's a slow speed model. So make sure the chuck's in there tightened up, and then we're going to try and get this as straight as we can. It doesn't have to be fast, it's not a race, guys. Alright, so we just want to get this thing started. Alright, so once you get the hole in there, we can speed it up a little bit. I'll go to about 2.5. And just let the drill bit do the work, guys. We're not pushing, trying to get drill the hole out as fast as we can. That might be a bit faster, a little bit quicker. Alright, so what I forgot to mention too, we don't want this going really deep into this handle, okay? So we're going to use this as a guide, and you'll see what this is for at the end. I'm just going to get my paint pen, and we're only going to go, what would it be? Roughly about 10 mil. Okay, so a centimeter. I'm not sure what that is in imperial, like the American measurement, but I'll put it up on the screen what it is. So we're not going in that far. So it doesn't have to be exactly all the way. That's just a guide. That black mark is just a guide. So we're going to go again. Blue button's on. Alright, so once it's going, once you get it going, you can speed it up a little bit. You can take it up to 4. This thing goes up to 5, but I found 4 when I was making it is plenty. So actually start it from the outside. You don't want to start on the inside. Now push a little bit, pull back, push a little bit, pull back. Alright, so we're almost up to this black mark, okay guys? Like, there you go. So we're going to stop. And then we're just going to test fit this. As you can still see it's a little bit tight, so we're going to have to burr this out. So if you've got like a drill bit that's ever so slightly bigger to fit this, but obviously check the drill bit before you start drilling. So like cut it and then get your drill bit and then measure it up against this to see what drill bit you need, and then you just want to work out what kind of materials you'll like want to have to dig out. So we're going to turn it back on and give it a little twist, and we just want to drill this out a little bit, like bore it out a little bit, make it a bit wider, but don't get too carried away, because if you go too big, you're done. Like, you just want to get it so it's in there snug. You don't want it in there so tight that you actually split the wood, okay? You just want it just so you can drop it in there. And just move it around a little bit. Try to bore out the hole a bit and just check it. Do a little bit at a time. We're nearly there, okay? So should almost be there. Oh, almost. So this is just trial and error, only because I don't have the correct size drill bit. It's the closest thing I've got. Alright, so you can see like the hole. That's why it was important to get the starter hole as close to center as possible, because if it wasn't, you would have been drilling on the outside of your handle. So you can still, it's still a bit tight. All right, so okay, so we're going to check it again. Okay, it needs to be a little bit deeper on the bottom. The bottom's still a little bit tight. Alright, so there. Alright, so that's snug. You see, you still got to pull out a little bit. Like, it takes a bit to pull out, but once everything wears in, like the plastic wears into the handle. Remember, these are only temporary, so it doesn't really matter. All right. Okay. So that sits in there like that. Right. Now, this bit, the next step is completely up to you, but for a bit of insurance, I kind of recommend doing this because you can see how thin the walls are. If you sort of, once this gets a bit of water in it, or over time, I think this is going to get a bit weak, it's going to split and then it's not going to hold this anymore. So this is where you get your super glue. So if I bring you in a little bit, all right, spray some of the dust out of the way. We're going to get our thread. We get your Q-tip, remember? So we're going to get some of this super glue. Alright. And it doesn't matter if you're left-handed, right-handed, it really doesn't matter which way you wind this cotton on. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm right-handed with the drill, so we can start. You can start anywhere, but you think roughly the tip is going to sit about there somewhere. So I want the thread just a bit below it. All right. So we're going to get our super glue, wherever that may be. Just need a tiny drop to start off with. And then just wind a bit on just to get it started. All right, that. Okay, so then what we're going to do, all right, so as it started, we're going to get our drill. We're going to insert the rounded end into here, because that's the good end. It's a bit decorative on the end. That's why I sort of decided to keep that end, and the other end was the pointy end. So we're going to drop our drill, not so tight that you crush the handle. Okay. All right, and all we're going to do is sit back, and we're just going to wind it on. Doesn't have to be like really neat. Slow speed. You can be all over the shop with this, as long as it keeping this on here. Oh, don't want to go too far down. I'm just holding like this. All right. And then once you get going, you can speed it up a little bit. See, the cotton's just nice and loose in my hand, like the roll. You're not, but keep a bit of tension on it, because you don't want really. You want this cotton to go on fairly tight. All right, and then especially up here. So you just take your time up on the end here. If you do, this is kind of the important end where you want it. All right, so just holding it in there. Oh, see if you go. All right, and then just down the end. All right, so we're going to stop there. But for now, we're not going to cut it. We're just going to leave it. And we're going to get some super glue. We're just going to smear it. This is the runny stuff. Don't use the gel type. You want this super glue runny. If you've got like the ultra thin CA, I think the Americans call it crazy glue, but Australia and most of Europe we call this super glue, so CA. All right, so we're just going to get it. And then we're going to roll it to the other side, hopefully, so you can see the bottom side never got the CA. So we're just going to do the other side. Just soaking the cotton, okay? That's all we're doing. We're just once the CA dries, or the super glue dries, it's going to form like a hard case around it. And then we're going to get our scissors, just give it a trim. Right, doesn't have to be right up to the end. This part doesn't really matter. And then we just check it, so you can see that there's still a bit of super glue that hasn't reached the bottom. So still leaving your drill, the stick on the drill bit, or on the drill. And if you want, you can give it slow rotation. Don't go so fast it starts flicking super glue everywhere. Just give it a... Alright, and then just do that. Alright, now we'll put our cap back on. Now this is the part where the kicker comes in, right guys? So I'm gonna get our kicker. If it doesn't have, it can be spray. If you got like a spray accelerator, it doesn't matter. We're just gonna get our Q-tip. Don't use a brush because you'll trash your brush. I'm just using a Q-tip. Actually soak it, okay? So actually get it not such dripping, but it's wet. Just put it in there, pull it back out again. So if you got spray, you can actually just spray the end. And I'm just getting the accelerator, and then just like that. All right. You can feel that this is hard too because the super glue sort of come in contact with the accelerator, and that's gone hard too. But we do want to pay attention down the end, make sure that the end gets a bit of accelerator on it. All right, just check it. Feels hard. All right, it sets almost instantly. All right, and you're probably thinking to yourself, Clem, that looks garbage. Look how rough that looks. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to get our shitty bit of sandpaper. You can actually speed the drop a little bit here if you want. Make sure that it's dry, like it's not, you've got like all the super glue's gone hard. Wrap it, give it a bit of squeeze. And then just give it a squeeze and get your sandpaper. It does get a little bit warm, so just stop every now and then. All right, take it out and get rid of your drill. We don't need the drill anymore. So, right. So here, maybe a bit of CA got in there, but just check. It should be alright. And if it has, all you need to do is just get your 2.5mm drill bit, put it back in there, just give it a quick twist, clean it up a little bit, just in case there's any splits in the wood. Check it in there, drop it in, and bang, there you have it. Okay, so, and then what I've also done is I'm going to get your end of your stick. You get just a pen, a Sharpie pen, if you want to use like paint from if you got a particular color that you just got to have on your paintbrush, because you're one of those people that color code your model area. So we're just going to mark that, give it a twist. Doesn't have to be exact. See, all we're doing is marking the end of the stick to where the bristles end. So we're just measuring the black part, and then paint your end of your paintbrush. Okay, call me OCD, but there's a reason behind this. All right, so the end's black. Also finishes off your paintbrush a little bit. See, like these tips, they're slightly out by about 1 mil, so I can just get a new one off my other one. Get that. All right, get my cutters right where that line ends, and then just go cut. Get that brand new tip, drop it in like so, and even if you want to, you can keep the protective end cap, drop that in there, like, because these are both new tips. I've just thrown away the original one I had in there. Oh, hang on, I'm just going to wet this a little bit with a bit of water, so bring bristles together. Boom, boom. There you go. So you can put these in your, wherever you keep your brushes. Now you've got two, or I've got two now, fine detail brushes that are disposable. So as I said, $2.45. $2.54 Aussie. Because I've got Amazon Prime, it didn't cost me anything. I bought a heap of stuff. Like I ended up buying, 3 packs of these. So 6, 7, just a bit over $7.50. Just a bit over that. Not even $8. I've got 150 disposable tips. And if you do look after these, and like these do last a while, if you're good with your, like looking after your cheap brush, and even if you get like a month or two out of this, that's still, I think for me, is good value. So I mean, I hope this video helps. I thought it was a good idea to make this video because it's just a spare of the moment thing. Like I said, I just got home from work and this is one of the projects I've been thinking about over the last few days, and I finished early enough so I could do this video, make one of these, and I thought, great, I'll get the camera out and I'll make another one to show you. So if you did find this useful, hit the like button, because I'm trying to grow this channel. It has been a long time since I've had this channel, but really I just want to see this grow a bit. And if you're not subscribed, I know a lot of you aren't, so hit the sub button. It's going to help me, and it's going to get this video out to a lot of people, especially young modelers that don't have a lot of money and they just want to make a cheap paintbrush for themselves. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. It's Clem again, signing out from Outback Mini Models. Have a great weekend. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time here at the bench. Catch you later, guys. Bye bye.